Okay, so good evening everyone. Though medyo may sikat pa ng araw, kakaunti. But yeah, it's evening na already. Okay, so for today, we're going to discuss Chapter 1, Lesson 2 of Applied Economics. Okay, so actually I have already sent the Lesson 1, which is the social science, no? All you have to do is to watch the pre-recorded videos. But I guess parang medyo marami nang nakakanood nun eh. Based dun sa views, yun. Okay, so for today, we're going to discuss the lesson 2, economics as an applied science naman. Okay, so for this topic, for this lesson, we have learning objectives or specific objectives. So after all this discussion, after all the explanation, at the end of this chapter, we should be able to discuss why economics is an applied science. And then explain the basic economic problems, yan, mga economic problems na na-encounter natin, especially dito sa Pilipinas. And then understand how applied economics work. Okay, so economic growth is often viewed as a rising tide that should uplift all the boats within it. Okay, so dapat pag sinabing growing yung economic, no, dapat pati yung mga nasa lower class, I think, dapat nararamdaman nila yung growth, no? Actually, dati nung nasa masteral degree ako, we have also managerial economics, and then we have tackled that there na hindi daw talaga mahirap ang Pilipinas, no? As you can see, no, during weekends and especially during payday like 15th and 30th of the month, ang daming tao sa mall, no? Ang daming namimili. Unlike sa other country, pag yun, siguro yung iba sa inyo na nakapag outside na or out of town or dito nakapunta na ng ibang bansa, pag pumunta kayo sa mall nila, bihira lang yung tao. Unlike dito sa Pilipinas, napakadaming tao sa mga mall. Ibig sabihin lang nun, no, pag may mga may bumibili, ganyan, lalo na pag 15 tsaka 30th day, ibig sabihin na mabilis yung ikot ng pera sa Pilipinas. Okay, so I think hindi naman talaga mahirap ang Pilipinas. Okay, siguro exaggerated lang yung yung mga nasa news, no? But I think and I believe na hindi naman talaga ganun kahirap ang Pilipinas. Kasi 'di ba, pag 15 tsaka 30th day of the month, ang daming tao sa mall. And lagi tayong parang lagi tayong naaakit sa mga mga sale, no, sa Shopee or even Lazada, and we also do Grab pag di tayo nakakabili or nakakapag-dine in. Yan. So yun, i-observe nyo lang, yung, kahit lang yung nasa loob lang ng mall, napakadaming tao. Ibig sabihin hindi naghihirap yung Pilipinas kasi mabilis na umiikot yung yung pera. Okay? So however, the Philippines' growth in recent decades has failed to make an impact on poverty reduction. Okay, so I think no, yung growth ng Pilipinas, ang sinasabi dito noon, parang wala siyang ganun ka ambag doon sa mga nasa lower class. No, though mabilis ang ikot ng pera, mabilis ang palitan ng pera at ng goods sa mga public sector or sa mga sa mga corporate, pero parang hindi siya nakakadagdag or nakaka-benefit dun sa mga nasa poverty line or nasa lower class. I think meron lang unfairness sa distribution ng tawag dito ng rights or ng yun nga parang equality, lalo na kunyari pag dun sa mga working na nasa poverty line, yun siguro na parang unjustifiable yung mga sinusweldo nila. Ayan, unlike sa ibang bansa, 'di ba, kahit na yung work nila is pang, ano ba yung mga, ewan ko kung blue collar ba tawag dun or white collar. Yung mga, like yung mga magsasaka, mga welder, like yung ano, yun sa ibang bansa malaki yung sweldo nun. Pero bakit dito sa Pilipinas hindi? Okay, so I think yun, meron lang parang hindi fair na distribution ng rights, no, ng karapatan, or hindi siya masyadong natitignan or nabibisita ng government kung ano lang dapat ba yung minimum wage, ganun. And then kung parang na-apply ba yun ng lahat ng business? Kasi baka merong ibang business na below minimum wage pa din yung sinusweldo. Okay, so that is why kahit na may growth ang Philippines, yan, mabilis ang palitan ng pera, hindi siya nakaka-impact or walang benefit no sa poverty line. Okay, so the ambition natin 2040 program seeks to address this by improving the living standards of all Filipinos. Okay, so yon, sana daw no pagdating ng 2040, but I think as soon as possible sana magkaroon na ng equality, no, kung ano yung effort na binigay ng Pilipino sa work nila, dapat ganoon din sana yung ma-receive nila. Okay, so the question is, how do we achieve this? Okay, so yon, you can now ask yourself, parang ano kaya yung mga ways, no, um, para yung poverty, no, magkaroon ng reduction or ma-decrease natin since nagkakaroon nga ng growth naman ang Pilipinas. So I guess siguro sa part ng business, siguro ibigay nila yung tamang sweldo para sa mga empleyado nila. Ayan. And for the government, siguro dapat mag-publish sila or magkaroon ng law or batas na or iangat pa nila itaas pa nila yung minimum wage. Yun, something like that. And then siguro since ang dami naman nagbabayad ng tax, more infrastructure para rin more jobs, no, para sa Pilipino. Okay? So yun yung mga other ways or mga ways na tingin kong pwedeng magkaroon ng reduction din sa poverty. Okay? So we have the following learning competency: define basic terms in applied economics. So we should define and understand the concepts of the three economic questions and the different factors of reduction, and then differentiate the concepts of economic growth and economic development, and understand the value of sustainable development and inclusive growth. So aside from the economic problems and then yung economic as an applied science, we also have these objectives. Okay, so what does growth look like? So the Philippines has often been given the title of tiger economy, or an economy poised to break out as a stronger power. However, apart from the numbers, how do we know our company is doing better? Okay, so ayun, wag tayong umasa sa social media or sa mga media na nagsasabing mahirap ang Pilipinas. Parang sa sarili natin, we can observe, no, kung naghihirap ba talaga yung Pilipinas. I think hindi mahirap ang Pilipinas. Talagang may corruption lang, no? Hindi tamang paggamit ng buwis. Yan. I think, ayun, ganun. Yan. What does growth look like? You can do it by yourself. Pero ito given ni Kuiper, merong activity, like form groups of 3 members each. Each 3 is required to prepare a presentation of 3 to 5 slides showing how they perceive economic growth. Each group will prepare the first 2 slides without researching the definition of economic growth. But ayan, we will not do it. Okay. So yeah, the following questions: what is economic growth? And mga indicators used to measure economic growth, and then what did you notice about how economic growth is measured? May KPI din sila, no? Parang katulad dun sa kahapon sa may POM. May mga criteria din, no, how to measure if growing ba talagang economics, ang economy. Okay, so we have the following 3 questions. Yan, 3 economic questions. The economic problem forces people to make choices. And this same obstacle affects societies, nations, and the world itself. Okay, so we have here the what, how, and for whom. Yan. In addressing this problem, societies are met with 3 economic questions. The what, the how, and for whom. And for example, sa mga allocations of resources, anong resources? At paano natin makukuha yung resources? And para sa kanino ba yung resources? Okay, so for example, nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, okay, so how do we solve the hunger of the people, yan, ng society? So nagkaroon ng ayuda, no, na tinatawag. And paano natin makukuha yung ayuda or paano natin siya madidistribute? And then so yung mga government magbi-meeting sila on how to distribute and how they're going to distribute or tawag dito or allocate, no, with fairness. Yan, and then para kanino, no? Yan, so nagkaroon ng category dati, no, na priority nila yung mga nasa poverty line or nasa lower class, and then those who are not working, and if you are working, hindi ka ganun ka priority, and priority din nila yung mga senior. Ayun, okay? So if working ka, if you are doing well naman with life, di ka talaga priority, na parang hindi ka masyadong priority ng government because you can get money, no, by yourself naman kasi maganda naman yung work mo, ganun. Okay, so yun yung pwedeng maging mga questions dun sa problem na yun. And we can apply these questions din naman sa mga ibang economic problem. Okay, so first, no, what yung aside from dun sa naging example ko na na economic problem, yan. Ito naman yung iba ring questions, no, like what should be produced? Ayan, as what products or services an economy should focus on producing. So for example, nung nagkaroon ng pandemya, ano yung dapat nilang i-produce to protect the people from the virus? Okay, so they have the following suggestions like face mask, yung alcohol, yung face shield, and then vaccine, no, as much as possible yung vaccine. Forces societies to consider which of their members needs, yan, they will prioritize. Okay, how should we produce it? Yan, it can be supplier, yan, from the supplier. And then if not available, yan, meron tayong mga experts like mga scientists to do the experimentation, yan, to create the vaccine or to produce the vaccine. And then we also have to hire doctors and nurse, no, to check the people na merong symptoms nung COVID. Yan. So yung mga alcohol naman, yan, yung mga face shield, face mask, yan, pwedeng supplier, no? And as what methods will be used in order to produce the goods and services needed. Okay, considerations include the use of manual labor, automation, or mix of both. Okay, so you can naman din, you can use this question naman din sa iba pang economic problem. Pero yun nga, yung isa sa example to yung pandemic. Okay, so for whom should we produce it? Ayan, syempre isa sa mga priority, no, na kaya pinroduce yung mga face mask, face shield is for the society, and then pinaka-priority nila is yung may symptoms. Okay? Yan. As who should receive the final goods and services produced by the economy, goods can be given to all equally or given to those who need it most. Another consideration is whether goods should be given to those who can afford it. Okay, so all 3 economic questions focus on proper resource allocation. Okay, so again, pag sinabi natin kasing economics, proper allocation of resources. Okay, So this enables society to make choices in consideration of their scarce resources. Okay, so factors of production. And so we have the micro level and then the macro level. So for the micro level, scarce resources refer to time, money, opportunities, and for new experiences. While yung macro level, there are four resources that societies have to properly allocate. So again, pag micro, time, money, and opportunities. While yung macro, nasa next slide, meron dang four resources na kailangang i-allocate ng maayos. Okay, so these are the land, labor, capital, and then entrepreneurship. I guess I have already discussed it sa lesson 1. Okay, but for another discussion na ulit. So I'll discuss. So for the land refers to resources that can be attributed to the land or the sea. Okay, so when we say land, yan, ito yung pwedeng kasama din yung parang yamang lupa at yamang tubig. Okay, consist of all natural resources, physical land, and even raw materials. Okay, so ayan. I think gets naman natin. For example, mga solar and wind energy, coal, oil, and fossil fuels, crops and plant life. Yan. So ano pa yung mga land na naiisip natin? Okay, so while labor naman, no, kung ito naman ay pinag-uusapan natin yung yamang tubig at yamang lupa, anything na hindi na immovable, I think. So while yung labor naman, pag sabi natin labor, ano naman to? Person naman to. Okay? So parang yung mga trabahador natin. Okay, refers to the tangible human element in the production process. Okay, so these are the contributions of the workforce, whether physical or mental. Okay, so pag sinabi natin physical, siguro ito yung mga yung mga nasa construction, like yung mga magsasaka. While yung mental, ito naman siguro yung yung mga experts na pwedeng magbigay ng knowledge nila, opinions, and consultations para sa proper allocation ng mga resources natin, or parang kung paano sila gagamitin, ayan. While yung sa physical naman, sila naman yung gagawa nun. Example of labor courier for food and parcel delivery, like yung Shopee, Grab, Food Panda. Teachers in the classroom, ito yung masasabi nating nasa mental, no? Mental, I mean, parang nagbibigay sila ng, hindi sila gumagamit ng physical, but they can use their opinions, ideas, and knowledge. Security guards at banks, yan, ito, pwede din, ito, tingin ko yung example ng physical. Okay, so another one, dun sa macro level, is the capital. Refers to the investment made to improve production. It can come in the form of physical capital or human capital. Okay, so pag physical capital, ito yung yung tinatawag nating, di ba pag sa partnership, merong capital at merong industrial. Okay, so pag capital partnership, meron silang ini-invest na mga equipment or pwedeng pera. Okay? While yung human capital, ang investment nila is yung knowledge nila, yung skills nila, yung experiences nila. Okay? So yun, we have two types of investment or capital. It can be in the form of money or equipment, or in the form of skills, knowledge, and experiences. Okay? Okay, so, ayan, like ito, physical capital, yan, physical tools and equipment that make production more efficient. So, for example, heavy machinery, vehicles, improved technology, kahit yung mga furnitures, ayan, yung mga computers, and etc. While in human capital, an investment made toward improving the human element of productions. Yun. For example, better healthcare or improvements to education. Ayun. So more on knowledge and experience and skills na ini-invest nila no to improve the for example education and healthcare. For the entrepreneurship, the intellectual capacity to organize and put together other factors of production to produce goods and services to society needs. So, syempre, kung nga meron na tayong capital, meron na tayong land, at meron naman na tayong sa labor. So, we still need entrepreneurs para ma-organize yung nang maayos yung other three resources na yon. Okay? So, sila yung mag-organize kung paano gagawin yung production. So, the labor will do their job. And then, paano gagamitin ng maayos din yung capital, paano i-invest, ayan, kung ipang-expand ba or tawag dito, mag-upgrade ba tayo ng equipment. So, yun, kailangan pa rin natin ng entrepreneur. And also, sa kanila kasi sa kanila nagagaling yung idea, no? Kung ano ba yung mga products or services na ipoproduce no, for the needs of the society. Okay? For example, ng mga CEOs, founders, mga partners, ayan, of the private businesses in different sectors. Okay, so here, ayan, you can do this as your self-assessment. Provide a unique example for each of the 4 factors of production. Ayan, so avoid using examples already provided na. So I think in yourself, no, makakaisip na kayo kung ano pa ba yung ibang examples ng labor, ng land, and then ano pa ba, yung capital, and as well as sa mga entrepreneur. Yun, so I guess yung sa dati sa organization and management, we have already discussed yung mga single or sole proprietorship, tapos yung partnership, mga cooperative, and then corporation. Yun, yung mga owners nun, you can consider them as the entrepreneur. Okay, so next, yung economic growth, the overall expansion of an economy. So measured by an increase in the gross domestic product or the GDP. Okay, so it is also considered as one of the most important goals that an economy should strive for. Okay, so, syempre, yan, yung bansa naman natin, ang gusto naman talaga nila mangyari ay magkaroon ng growth sa economy. So, however, it has issues. An increase in military spending can cause GDP to rise but yield no improvements in living conditions. Yeah, do you agree? Yan, pag I think kung yan sa mga ABM, I think na i-imagine nyo na kung bakit tataas ang GDP pag nagkaroon ng maraming expenses. Okay, so pag maraming an increase in military spending can cause GDP to rise but yield no improvements in condition. And parang di siya agree, no? Na wala daw ambag ang military sa improvements ng living condition. Well, anyway, increase in wealth can be concentrated among small group of elites. Okay, so isa sa mga tawag dito, composition or parang nagko-contribute kung bakit tumataas ang GDP, etong mga milyonaryo natin. Okay, so siguro pag nag-research kayo, parang last time nag-research ako, yung top 20 ata nating mayayaman, no? Parang katumbas niya na yung yaman nila pag pinagsama-sama, yung ewan ko kung top 10 or top 20 or top 50. Pag pinagsama-sama daw yung yaman nila, katumbas na nun yung the rest of the country. Okay, so yun, parang nagkakaroon ng unfairness, no? Pag nag-compute tayo ng GDP. Okay, kasi kino-consider kasama sa computation yung mga elites natin. or yung mga mayayaman, yung top 50 na mayayaman. So pag kinumpit yun, parang ang labas mayaman yung parang mayaman yung, parang nagkakaroon talaga ng malaking economic growth. Yan, tumataas ang GDP. Pero in reality, meron pa rin naiiwanan talaga sa baba, sa poverty line. Okay? Parang rin yan sa mode, median, tsaka mean. Ayan. So yung parang mas better doon na gamitin ang, I guess yung mode instead of mean or yung median. Ayan, lalo na pag kunyari magsasuggest ka ng additional na benefits sa mga mahihirap. So the researcher will do their research, no, kung mahirap ba talaga yung yung isang lugar na yon. How if nung computation nila nag mean at median sila, na isama nila yung mayayaman, then na-prove nila na hindi naman talaga mahirap yung na yun, yung lugar na yun. No? So, I think yon tamang lang talaga, yung right computation lang talaga yung dapat i-consider. Okay, so economic growth does not accurately represent the welfare or well-being of the members of a particular society. Okay, so ayun nga, may economic growth nga, mayaman ang bansa, mabilis ang ikot ng pera, pero parang wala siyang benefit or hindi siya nakakatulong din, or parang hindi natin nakikita yung improvement doon sa poverty line or poverty line, no, or yung nasa lower class. Okay? So economic development naman, so aside from economic growth, we have the economic development. Measure the welfare of the economy's members, takes into consideration a wider range of statistics beyond the wealth, looks at quality of life and living standards. Okay? So aside from the economic growth, dapat meron na tayong economic development, parang mas wider yung considerations nila. So I guess magkakaroon na tamang computation dito. Kasi tawag dito, may kino-consider na sila na computation. Ayan, like dapat yung quality ng life, yung living standards, and kung sasama ba sa computation yung mga elites natin. No? So we can come up with the right computation and the right answer para dun sa solution natin, no, kung nag-exist ba talaga yung economic problem na yun. Some factors taken into consideration are quality of education, state of poverty, and environmental sustainability. So yun, pag dito naman sa quality of education, lalo na ngayon, no, na online learning. So naalarma yung buong mundo sa magiging quality ng education. It's because parang nawawala yung habit. Kumbaga, iba pa rin kasi talaga, no, kung nasa face-to-face tayo. Ayan. Kasi pag nasa bahay kasi tayo, di ba, parang hati yung attention. Lalo na pag hindi tayo ganun ka-disiplinado. Unlike pag nasa school talaga tayo or face-to-face, no, pag nasa school tayo, focus talaga tayo dun sa lesson. Okay, while pag sa online learning, yan, pag hindi tayo ganun ka-disiplinado, maaaring mahati yung attention natin. Okay? And then, yung rin natin, yung parang habit natin na, kunyari, after ng class, papahinga na talaga tayo. Ayun, pag nasa school, tutok naman tayo sa pag-aaral. Ngayon, parang wala na tayong schedule, wala nang kumbaga parang nag-iiba na yung habit natin. Okay. Economic growth and development. And economic growth can contribute to economic development. So an increase in the economy's wealth may create more jobs and opportunities. Okay, syempre pag nagkakaroon ng economic growth, syempre merong mga tax. Pag merong tax, magpapagawa ang gobyerno ng mga infrastructure or mga public na sectors wherein nag-create ng more jobs and opportunities. Okay, and syempre, isa sa mga nagko-contribute kung bakit nagkakaroon ng economic growth is yung mga private sectors din, like mga San Miguel. So pag nag-grow din sila, pag nag-expand sila, syempre magkakaroon ng mga jobs and opportunities. Okay? So, however, economic growth is not needed to improve the economic development of a society. So, what other factors would you take into consideration when measuring economic development? Okay, so sa sarili mo, no, ano pa kaya yung dapat i-consider ng government, no, para ma-measure talaga nila yung economic development? Okay, so sustainable development, ayan, economic development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future generation. Okay, so ayun, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future generation. Kasi maaaring ano tayo, parang panay tayo ipon for today or parang lagi tayong nagpe-prepare para sa future generation pero hindi natin nako-consider yung ngayon. Okay? So inclusive growth, one of the key goals of Ambition 2040. Yan, not familiar with this one, yung Ambition 2040, but I'll research for this one and then I'll discuss it next meeting. Growth that not only benefits the elite but helps all members of the society. Okay, so dapat hindi lang yung mga mayayaman yung nakikinabang. Dapat yung mga nasa poverty line. Okay, so yun nga sabi nga nila, ang mayaman lalo pang yumayaman, ang mahirap lalo pang humihirap. Okay, so I think magkaroon lang sila ng mga projects or tawag dito ng batas, no, na magkakaroon talaga ng fairness. Helps eliminate poverty and improves living standards. So ano nga ba yung madalas na nagiging reason, no, kung bakit naghihirap ang mga tao? So I guess yung paglaki din ng population. Okay, especially ngayong pandemic, no, lumalaki talaga yung parang mas lumaki yung paglaki ng population. So I guess hindi naman siguro natin dapat sisihin yung mga bata or yung mga magulang, no, but I think dapat yung government din magkaroon sila ng ng parang project or magkaroon din ng ngayon ng mga lessons din sa school, no, na it talks about the family planning, ayan, like yung sex education, na para mas mamulat yung mga kabataan kung ano yung magiging resulta nung gagawin nilang yon, no? Yan, kung ready na ba talaga sila. And improves living standard. Yan. Why study economics? You will learn to discern decisions not just by their explicit cost, but also their opportunity cost. And it will enable you to make well-informed opinions and decisions. Okay, it will help you make better decisions, not just for yourself or for those around you, but also for the future generations. Okay, so ayun, nagkakaroon na tayo ng pag mas mayroon tayong idea kung ano nangyayari sa ekonomiya, mas mag-care din tayo kung ano yung mapapakinabangan or maaabutan din ng future generations natin. Like for example, utang ng bansa na which is papasanin pa ng mga future generations. Okay? Yan. So ano daw, give corresponding hand signal to identify which factor of production, factor of production each resource fall under. Yan. So madali lang to, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Pag bulldozer, yan, stovetop at diner, use fossil fuels, founder of the company, teacher at school. Madali lang yan, kaya niyo sagutan. You can do or you can answer those questions by yourself as self-assessment. Apart from environmental considerations, what is another threat to sustainable development? Okay, so apart, ano kaya yung mga other other threat, no, aside from environmental considerations? Okay, so you can ask yourself, no, kung ano pa ba yung other threat aside from environmental considerations. Okay, so yan, let's summarize the topic. Yeah, maaga tayo, parang ilang minutes lang. So, yon, we have already discussed the three economic questions, the what, the how, and for whom. Yan, actually pati yun itong i-apply sa principles of marketing and then entrepreneurship. Okay? Ano ba yung ipoproduce natin? Yan. Paano ba natin ito mapoproduce? Or kaya ba natin itong i-produce? And para kanino? Sino ba yung target market natin? Okay, so pag gumagawa kayo ng business plan or gusto na mag-create ng business, you can consider these questions then. Okay, so the 4 factors of production that societies try to allocate are the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So under to ng macro level. Pag micro level, ayun yung money, time, and opportunities. Okay? Economic growth refers to an increase in the GDP of the country within a specific time period, while the economic development focuses on the improvement of the welfare of a country's citizens. Economics is valuable as a discipline because of how it teaches you to make a better decision for yourself, the people around you, and the future generations. Okay, so I think that's it. Maaga tayong nag-out. Sabi ko na nga, mabilis lang to. Okay, so any question guys? Or na-overwhelm ba kayo sa economics? And any questions or anything that you want to clarify? If good na tayo, then we can now end the call. Yan. Are we good na? Are we good? Okay, so I think it's a yes since wala naman nasagot. Okay, so we can now end the call. Thank you everyone for those who attended. Bye. Thank you.
Ito, ma'am.